Now at 5, Freeman Health System announces its choice for a new CEO. Plus, why a proposed daycare in Pittsburgh is drawing some community opposition. And
President-elect Donald Trump's controversial pick for defense secretary goes before the Senate Armed Services Committee. I'm Natalie Brent on Capitol Hill with a look at how Pete Hegseth is answering questions about allegations of misconduct.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Freeman Health System announces its new leader. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. The Freeman Board of Directors has chosen Matthew Fry as their new president and CEO. Fry has previous healthcare administrative experience in California and Illinois. Fry takes the position vacated by the impending retirement of CEO Paula Baker. The health system had originally tabbed Tom Keller for the job, but he backed out. Fry's first day on the job is slated for April 1st. A proposal for a daycare is stirring up emotions and debate in Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh City Commission will discuss tonight whether to approve a conditional use permit for an in-home daycare. The possibility of that permit has become a controversy within the neighborhood where the daycare would be. The owner of Play to Learn Childcare says the permit is the last step after becoming CPR certified, licensed by the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, and inspected by a fire marshal. Now neighbors have created a petition against the permit, citing concerns involving increased traffic, the daycare's hours, and the family's dog. These concerns were brought up in a planning and zoning meeting during which the commission issued a recommendation to approve the permit.
Honestly, I don't know what we would do. We would probably be at a loss if they honestly voted against this based off of the reasons given to oppose it.
The City Commission will discuss the permit during tonight's meeting. It begins at 5:30. We're going to follow what the commission decides tonight on KOAM News. According to a recent report by AP News, public university and college tuition rates have experienced a slowdown. In Missouri, tuition has increased by just 1.45% on average compared to a year ago. That's according to College Tuition Comparison. While some colleges have raised their rates, most public universities in the state remain more affordable than the national average. In contrast, private universities have seen an increase of more than 6%. We visited Missouri Southern and Crowder College to explore how these lower tuition rates are benefiting students and the communities.
You want a student to be able to get out and have a working wage that they can afford, and even if they do have to take out loans, which we try not to encourage, we try to encourage applying for scholarships, completing the FAFSA so that they can get free financial aid as much as possible. But the more they can save and not have to pay when they get out, the more they can afford to live.
We're going to hear more from faculty and students on KOAM News at 10. Right now, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy for a first look at the weather.
Well, of course, another cool day for us today. Most of us right around 40 degrees for afternoon highs. 35 in Joplin, 34 is where we stand in Pittsburgh. We've had a cold front that kind of shifted through a few hours ago. You can see this wind shift line in our southern county. So this is going to usher in another cold night for us tonight. You can see these northeasterly winds at about 5 to 10 to 15 miles per hour. We've also had a couple tiny little snow showers out there. It's not a big deal, but watch our temperatures drop. So by morning, we're going to be into the low to mid teens in our northern counties and hanging out near 20 degrees in our southern counties. Through the evening, sliding back through the 30s, through the 20s across the region. Here are those light little tiny snow showers, a lot of it not reaching the ground, but a few spinning out there. Not a big deal. Warming up down the road. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
See you soon. Another red flag warning is in effect today in the LA area 1 week after massive infernos broke out, killing 24 people and destroying thousands of homes and businesses. Beefed up crews are watching for flare-ups today with potential wind gusts as high as 70 miles per hour, raising concerns even farther inland. Officials are trying to determine if embers from a New Year's Eve fire might have reignited to spark the massive Palisades fire. Residents who lost property in the Eaton fire in Altadena have filed lawsuits against Southern California Edison, claiming the utility triggered that blaze. The company says the cause of the fire continues to be under investigation. Part of Special Counsel Jack Smith's report on the investigation of President-elect Donald Trump was released overnight. The report details Trump's efforts to stay in power following his 2020 presidential election loss. In the report, Smith wrote that the admissible evidence was sufficient to obtain and sustain a conviction at trial. Smith asked a judge to dismiss the charges after Trump won in November, citing the Justice Department's long-standing policy against prosecuting a sitting president. Following the report's release, Trump attacked Smith on social media, calling him a lame brain prosecutor. Trump has maintained all along that he did nothing wrong. Army National Guard veteran and former Fox News host Pete Hegseth is the first of President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet picks to sit for a Senate confirmation hearing. Natalie Brand reports from Capitol Hill, where lawmakers had lots of questions.
Democratic lawmakers wasted no time grilling President-elect Trump's defense secretary pick, Pete Hegseth, on excessive drinking and sexual misconduct allegations.
You've admitted that you had sex at that hotel in October 2017. You said it was consensual, isn't that correct? How do you explain your judgment?
Completely false charges against me. You fully investigated, and I was completely clear.
You have
Some senators expressed concerns about Hegseth's ability to manage the Pentagon's nearly $1 trillion budget, citing his handling of finances at two veterans nonprofits.
By the time you left, that organization had deep debts, including credit card transaction debts of about $75,000.
Republican Joni Ernst, a veteran herself, questioned Hegseth about the role of women in the military, given Hegseth's past comments that women should not serve in combat roles.
As Secretary of Defense, will you support women continuing to have the opportunity to serve in combat roles?
Yes, women will have access to ground combat roles, given the standards remain high.
A month ago, Hegseth's confirmation appeared in jeopardy, with several Republicans expressing concerns. But since then, President-elect Trump and his allies have rallied around the former Fox News host.
I can't speak for everybody else, but I'd be shocked if anybody voted against him.
Hegseth can afford to lose no more than 3 Republican votes on the Senate floor if all Democrats oppose his nomination. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The committee is expected to approve Hegseth's nomination for a full Senate vote, but some Republican senators have not yet said whether they'll vote for him when that time comes. Still ahead, a travel trend.
Travel keeps growing and breaking new records. I'm Wendy Gillette in Los Cabos, Mexico, with the forecast for 2025.
But first, the risk of developing dementia in the U.S. is higher than previously thought. We're going to look at the reasons coming up in Health Watch. Topping today's Health Watch, children with obesity face a greater risk of dying following a cancer diagnosis. A study by the American Cancer Society looked at children diagnosed with cancer and found those with obesity had a 3% lower chance of survival over 5 years. They also faced a 16% higher risk of their illness relapsing. Researchers want to make it easier for you to tell which food at the grocery is processed. A team at Mass General Brigham has created a database that gives foods a score of how processed they are. It's called Grocery DB, and it's available online. Ultra-processed foods contain additives, preservatives, and high sugar, salt, and fat, which can lead to obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. The risk of developing dementia in the United States is much higher than previously estimated. It's according to a new study. That's because people in the United States are living longer, and with that comes increased rates of dementia. This new study says cognitive decline will double by 2060 and then impact about 1 million Americans a year. Stephanie Stahl has more.
Karen and Anthony Sandone say they were living the good life until he was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's when he was 55.
And I got lost in the car and I didn't know where I was.
In addition to some memory loss, Anthony had trouble finding words.
When you heard that diagnosis, what did it feel like? What was it like?
Man, like a truck hit me.
It was very devastating.
Yeah, it really was.
Now they're working with the Alzheimer's Association to raise awareness about the memory-robbing type of dementia that's growing. New research says dementia numbers will double over the next 35 years.
So the lifetime risk is very high.
Study author Dr. Joseph Korish with NYU Langone says the study found the lifetime risk of developing dementia for people over the age of 55 is 42%. That's considerably higher than previous estimates based on newer information.
This study looked at 15,000 people followed since the late 1980s.
Dr. Korish says the risk goes up with age, especially after age 85. And he says the research highlights the need for more preventative measures.
The things that prevent heart disease, like low blood pressure, no diabetes, no smoking, and then physical activity, sleep. Then later there's a lot more hearing loss, and I'd have people address hearing and vision loss and avoiding social isolation.
The Sandones say it took 2 years to get the diagnosis. With early onset, there are medications that can slow progression, which Anthony is taking.
So we do think that it's helping, and we're certainly grateful that he was a candidate.
Celebrating 15 years of marriage and hoping for many more. Stephanie Stahl, CBS News, Philadelphia.
The new research published in the journal Nature Medicine also finds dementia is significantly higher among Black adults who also have an earlier onset. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, an update on a lunar lander mission.
Plus, it's going to be another cold night for us tonight, but a warm up down the road. We're going to look at that. Well, of course, another cold day for us today. Temperatures only right around 40 degrees, but still could be worse for this time of the year. We have had a lot of clouds. We've even had a few light little snow showers kind of rotating through, not really amounting to anything, but we have had some flakes of flying over the past couple hours across the region. Great shot. This is our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, through the evening hours again, a couple light little snow showers and flurries. We slide back through the 30s into the 20s, and we had a cold front that shifted through. You can see this wind shift line in our southern counties, but a northeasterly wind kind of ushering in a little bit cooler air. And we do still have all that Arctic air bottled up across parts of Canada into the northern parts of the lower 48. So it's going to kind of surge in a little bit tonight and then retreat, but it could come and stay a while once we get into early next week. All right, so look at the light little snow showers pushing through. A lot of this isn't reaching the ground, but we are getting some light little flakes kind of passing through over the next couple hours or so. But besides that, not a whole bunch going on. We're pretty quiet across the lower 48. Look at our jet stream. So it goes way up into Canada, and then you can follow the arrows down right into the Central Plains, and that's why overall it's been pretty cold over the past, really a couple weeks. All right, so here's our upper level flow. So you see the colors here. Where those pop up, that's temperatures below freezing. So if we go through time, you can see the Arctic air kind of retreats. Once we get toward the weekend, we get a weak little system through, but look at the Arctic air again. Slides in, really slides in through the weekend into early next week. So here's Monday morning, and look at the cold temperature sticking around through the beginning of next week. But at least we do get a little bit warmer later on this week. All right, let me take you through time. Cold night tonight, especially in our northern counties. 12 in Fort Scott, 17 in Lamar, 20 in Miami, 25 in Anderson. Partly sunny on your Wednesday, mid-30s by noon. I think most of us will top out 41, 42, maybe 43 degrees in our southern counties, smidge below where we should be for this time of the year. All right, by Thursday morning, upper 20s to near 30, so not near as cold tomorrow night. And then nice little warm up by Thursday afternoon. We get into the upper 40s to near 50 degrees. Day planner on your Wednesday, 22 in the morning, 38 by noon. High temp, 41 degrees, so very similar to what we did see today. All right, let's go into Friday. Look at this. We go into lower 50s. And then here comes our next cold front. This could give us a few random showers late Friday into Saturday morning, and then the cold air surges in. So Saturday afternoon only until lower 30s. And if you're going to Kansas City, this is when the Chiefs play Houston. Temperatures are going to be sitting into the mid 20s. All right, let's go 41 tomorrow, 49 Thursday, 53 on Friday, and then only 35 Saturday, 28 on Sunday. Much colder week next week. We got several days with highs in the 20s.
And I like the idea of a cold Arrowhead with a Houston team coming to town.
Yeah, they're not going to be very happy.
I hope not. Coming up, travel trends and what we can expect for 2025. Topping today's Consumer Watch, travel around the world shattered records in 2024, and overall prices keep rising. Both trends are projected to continue this year. Wendy Gillette reports on the 2025 forecast.
Hugs with established connections and endless networking to make new ones brought together the biggest names and brands for the international luxury travel market at Cannes last month. The trade show marked the largest gathering in the organization's history.
2024 was a phenomenal year in travel. We hear it from travel agents, we hear it from suppliers, we hear it from resorts, we hear it from city hotels.
Hot destinations this year include Japan, where round-trip airfares will drop close to $1,000, down 12% from last year. Travelers are also headed off the beaten path in Europe to Verona, Italy, and Milos, Greece, and booking adventure trips to Norway and Finland, according to Hopper. More predictions for 2025 come from travel advisors and hotel leaders attending the annual Embark Immersion Conference held late last year in Los Cabos, Mexico. The event generated $10 million in sales, looking ahead to 2025. Embark CEO Jack Ezon says warming temperatures around the world are changing travel patterns, including visits to Europe.
Many people, instead of going in the core July and August, are now choosing to go in September or October or May or June.
Traveling to shop is becoming more popular.
I'm seeing lots of folks going places specifically to buy that bag, get that item they've always wanted.
There's also an increased focus on personalized travel.
Personalization today is really a basic. So people want to be recognized, people want to get to know our colleagues, people want to know that they're being taken care of.
The luxury travel network Virtuoso sees the growth of solo cruising. And the Points Guy predicts authentic experiences and trips planned around attending events like Taylor Swift's Eras Tour last year will keep travel flying high in 2025. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, we're going to meet a family that was dropped from their insurance plan before the California wildfires destroyed their home. And they're not the only ones. Then on KOIM News at 6, reporter Samantha Walker explores the debate over that proposed daycare center in Pittsburgh. Plus the priceless images that showed up on an SD card in an old camera found in an Oklahoma thrift store. And a preview of tonight's basketball game between Neodesha and Columbus. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOIM News at 6. The moon might soon get some new visitors. Just after midnight tonight Eastern Time, a SpaceX rocket is due to lift off, carrying a pair of commercial lunar landers that will try to touch down in the coming months. One was built by a Japanese company, the other by a Texas company. CBS News' Mark Strassman saw the U.S. lander up close before it was shipped off for launch. The Blue Ghost, built by a company called Firefly near Austin, is 6 feet tall, 11 feet wide with 4 landing legs. It'll deliver 10 science payloads for NASA, but its primary mission is to pave the way for astronauts to return.
It's been basically the only thing we think about morning, noon, night.
This really is a building largely of 20-somethings, creating the next generation of space.
I think that's one thing that makes us really different is they've been told no so many times in their career, so they don't know what can't be done.
2 of Firefly's rivals flew into trouble on their first flights last year. One company, Astrobotic, suffered a mission-ending failure of its propulsion system. The other, Intuitive Machines, touched down but tipped over on the lunar surface. Checking back with Doug, we have some changes coming in the way.
Yeah, it's going to be another cold night for us tonight, but back to 41 tomorrow. Look at this, a little bit of a warm up the next couple days before we crash again by the weekend.
Thanks, Doug, and thank you for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. Of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. Let's make it a great evening.